Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 236 of the Immigration Lawyers Podcast. We have a really neat one, a different kind of guest today. Usually it's immigration lawyers, but we have a person who's essentially an immigration lawyer at this point, I bet, with the amount of cases that she's seen. Chanille Juneau, Chief Technology Officer of B.A.L, Barry Appleton Leiden. And I hope I said the name of the partners right, but there are a lot of immigration lawyers are smaller, no fragment because that's the name everyone says, but Barry Appleton Leiden is essentially competing forces with that group. As when it comes to scale and international presence and just volume and all that kind of stuff. It's an incredible thing they've achieved, and they're just growing like magnificently. It's unbelievable how big you're doing. And, there's always immigration lawyers behind the scenes, but there's Chanille behind the scenes who's handling this, because you can only do something like that with a chief technology officer who has experience. So it's a really unique perspective to get. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, John.
Of course. So why don't you tell us more about how you got into your path, because you have a tech background, how you got in the immigration field, and we'll take from there.
Yeah. From a technology perspective, I have found over the years that background doesn't matter. Technology spans across every different field, and there are a lot of things that you can learn from one field that then translate to other fields, and especially things that you take that are efficiencies that you learn in one field, and then you say, hey, wow, I can apply these efficiencies to another field. And so that's a lot of what happened with me. I worked in multiple different software companies, from healthcare, recruiting, retail, construction, trucking, and wedding industries. Wow. Before I came to immigration law.
Wow, that's a lot of experience that brought with you. So, I mean, was there any hesitation of coming? Because I was talking to another lawyer this morning, and they're like, they were a corporate lawyer, then they got to immigration. They're like, immigration is completely different than what I thought it was. How was your shock when you learned about how the hot dog's really made?
Yeah, I think the hesitation for coming from me was more of making that leap from working for software companies to going to work for a law firm, and wondering, can a law firm really build software? Well, it was up to me to make it happen. And so the answer is absolutely yes, right? We've built proprietary software and done it just like a software company. That's how we operate now. And I think that's the best model to follow after. But for immigration specifically, it was surprising to learn a couple things. Number one, how much is still paper-based, and just still trying to, get away from that and to make things more electronic and enable more automation. And number two, just how many nuances there were, how much strategy is actually involved. This is not just one simple rote process where the same thing works for every case. It truly requires strategy and smart people behind the scenes to work with effective technology to deliver an end product that's great.
Definitely. The technology, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but I just remember I went to a marriage immigration interview on Wednesday, and they have this thing where they scan the paper file that I send them, and or if everyone sends them. And the people in the mailroom that go and then scan it, they just throw it in there. So the officer is reviewing it. They're like, the scan's all over the place. So it took her twice as long just trying to find documents on her screen because everything's going digital. I'm like, their digital systems still have problems. We got to fix that up. But I'm kind of jumping ahead in our conversation. But so when you start working with B.A.L, did they already have a system already in place, or did you come from scratch and build design from the ground up?
Yes and yes, right. So B.A.L kind of led the way in systems. I think the first system B.A.L started to build was back in 1998. Wow. And so it's old hat for B.A.L to have technology behind the scenes, and really technology leading the way. But whenever I came in at the end of 2016, we had embarked on building our new case management system that's in place today. And so, yes, we built that new one. We launched it. We, took the huge undertaking of migrating all the clients from the old software system to the new one. And we're really making an effort today to build our software in a way that we can always keep up with the times and stay ahead of the times, so we never have to build a new system again. We've got an ever-evolving technology system that's always keeping up behind the scenes now.
That's an interesting thing you said. you don't want to redo the whole thing. It's flexible enough software where the change that come, you could kind of pivot with it.
Yeah, we do pivot with it. And it's not just about building new features on the front end that people get to use. That's, the cool thing that everybody always sees. But the really important part is under the hood. It's the architecture that you use. It's ensuring that things are scalable. It's ensuring that we're keeping up with the most up-to-date technology, not just like versions of technology being good, but actually saying, oh, we need to make a technology change here because this is the way of the future and this is going to enable more in the future. So we're constantly doing that and making seamless changes behind the scenes that mature our product continually.
Now, this is a product that people don't have access. This is an internal product for B.A.L. You call it Cobalt. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, today it's an internal product for B.A.L.
Interesting. How many people are utilizing this software?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, actually. Last year, so in 2021, we had over 13.7 million non-bot visits. I like to say non-bot visits because everyone is switching to automation these days, and do you really count that as a real user or not? But over 13.7 million visits, and it's all of B.A.L's immigration team, from paralegals to attorneys. It's also the HR users with our corporate clients, and it's the foreign national. So we've got three really distinct groups of users, but the tool enables everyone to communicate, get the right info, get it to us faster, really just move seamlessly through the process.
What have been some like the biggest headaches in setting up software? I mean, obviously when USCIS overnight changes the form, you guys got to jump on it.
Absolutely. I mean, reacting to government changes quickly is in our DNA, and it always has been, right? Even before the technology was there, that's in the DNA of immigration lawyers. So we had to build a technology to match that, which means that we kind of built the ultimate configuration capabilities behind the scenes. So we don't have to have a developer go and like react to government changes overnight. We can have a person just jump into an admin that we've built into the product and make the change just right then and there. What that means is that it is super robust from an admin perspective. And that was one of the unexpected things, coming from the software industry to an immigration law firm that I had to tackle from the software side of things.
Very cool. So like another software that you guys created or kind of spinning it off is called DUNASI, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. DUNASI.
What is that and how did that come about?
Yeah, we're really excited about DUNASI. It is a separate company entirely. So a lot of the same people, same partners involved in B.A.L are also involved in DUNASI, but B.A.L and DUNASI are completely separate companies. So DUNASI comes from, the name is a combination of the words power and insight in Greek. And really the DNA of DUNASI as a company is finding an immigration problem and helping to solve it, regardless of if it falls into kind of that corporate space that B.A.L works with, right? And so the first thing that we did was we noticed the age-old problem of, USCIS processing times, the ranges being just completely unpredictable and huge. And that's the specific problem that we wanted to solve. And so we have a bunch of smart tech people. We've got 40 years of immigration experience, and we used those two things and came up with an algorithm that is a lot more precise than what USCIS offers. So for a USCIS range, you might see a range of 6 to 10 months. Well, that's not helpful at all for planning. So we narrow that range down to just 2 weeks. So a 2-week time frame where people can plan better. And it's not just for the foreign national. I mean, for them, it's super important so that they can plan. And it's a nerve-wracking thing to sit there and wait. But it's also for immigration practitioners so that you know how to prepare better. It's also for HR, right? If you are in that corporate space and you are trying to plan for and hire people, like when do you plan for them to start, right? So this info is useful just kind of across the board, and it's not just applicable to B.A.L. So we wanted to make it accessible in a way that wasn't just for B.A.L clients, but really for the industry as a whole. So that's how DUNASI was born, really, was we created the Case TrueTime app, and it's usable for anyone. That was the beginning of the DUNASI company. We are now working on a pro version of the app. The app is focused for foreign nationals, right? You're going to get the best experience out of the app if you're the person with the case and you're downloading it. But we recognize that, for immigration practitioners or for HR practitioners, you may need the data in a different place. And so Case TrueTime Pro gives that same data, but in an API form. And then really, we're going to expand from there. So we have a call out on our website that is, what immigration problem can we help you solve? It doesn't need to be in the bounds of the corporate space or the family-based space or anything like that we typically think of from like an immigration law perspective. It's truly like, what's an immigration problem that you have to solve, and how can we explore helping solve that through technology?
Have there been any suggestions that you could reveal that you're working on?
I can't reveal anything yet, but we are excited to hear from our audience and our user base.
For sure. I mean, there's just so many problems with the system. It's hard to choose. But so right now, when it comes to the case times, which application types are included? Is there family-based or is it strictly employment-based?
There are some family-based also. And actually, if you download the app, there's a free version of the app, right? So you can be sure that the case type you're interested in is included before you pay for a subscription. Subscription's $4.99 a month. And it's just monthly. So most people have it, for 3 or 4 months, then they get a decision on their case and they are able to drop it, right? But we have a menu that says basically, like, what's my case TrueTime? What do we cover? And we just list out all the different types that we cover. So
it becomes vital because everyone's practicing as clients who want to call every day. What's going on my case? Or USCIS.gov says this. And I have a live show where I do ask a question, how long my case is. And I'm like, well, if you want to answer that, go to USCIS.gov. And whatever it is, don't believe it. That's the best I can tell you, because everything is pretty inconsistent. But so you guys have that much volume though, where is it B.A.L is giving data from large volume numbers of cases where you can aggregate that with the algorithm? There
are several different ways. So that's part of it. We also crowdsource data, and we have a couple of data sources behind the scenes.
I see.
So we have ensured that we've got volume to make it right. We've even done tests. I recently did a test about a month ago where I cut it down to a random 60% of our volume to see if we still got the same answers, just to be sure our volume is what it needs to be. And we did. So our volume's great. We're getting really good predictions from it.
Very cool. Very cool. I remember when we talked earlier, there were some surprises sometimes where you saw stuff happening before USCIS announced or something. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Actually, on the DUNASI website, we have an article about USCIS processing time trends from 2021. USCIS didn't announce that I-765 processing time was increasing so greatly, but in the Texas Service Center specifically, we saw at the beginning of 2021, it was taking 100 days to process cases. In December, it was taking 300 days.
Wow.
I mean, that's a 300% increase, three times what it was taking before. And so, we've been watching that, but then we've also seen recently that a couple of case types all of a sudden had a big drop. They dropped by 20% in their processing time. And we're able to see those trends.
It's good to have these trends so we can hold their feet to the fire to have this kind of data all together, because it's just the inconsistency is ridiculous. And honestly, if it takes a long time, but it's consistently on, we just know a time we could say it, but it's just so all over the place and it goes up and down every 6 months. It's very frustrating. It's good to have this kind of technology, at least to give a realistic impression of what people can expect. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. What's the website if they want to download the app to get the experience with it?
Yeah, if you want to download the Case TrueTime app, it's available in both Google Play and the Apple App Store, and just search for Immigration Case TrueTime.
Immigration Case TrueTime. Okay.
Yep.
Well, real cool. Now, I kind of did shout at the beginning, but where are you located yourself? Are you in Texas? Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm located in Texas, in sort of a remote part of Texas.
A remote. How do you did you move there when you started working for B.A.L?
I'm a native Texan, and I've kind of lived all over the place, but B.A.L is great from the standpoint of offices everywhere and remote
Yeah.
working everywhere. And so it's really easy to have remote working capabilities.
Definitely. I mean, internet sometimes slows down, but for the most part, this work from home for me is excellent. I try to avoid anything that requires me to have to leave, so it gives huge flexibility. So I love it. We're really blessed to have the opportunity to be in a field that you can do this, where you can just pick and choose your hours like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the website for DUNASI is DUNASI, DUNASI tech.com. DUNASItech.com.
Tech.com. And are you on social media? Do you have a Twitter? You're a tech. You got to have a Twitter to give your opinion on stuff. That's right.
We have a social media page for B.A.L and for DUNASI, both on LinkedIn. So you can follow us there.
Great. And you're obviously on LinkedIn yourself and stuff. We'll connect with you there. Well, stay on the line. We'll talk for a couple minutes afterwards. But thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks everybody for listening. And I should have said at the beginning, but don't forget to check out the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox magazine at immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com/magazine. Get a lot of info there, and hopefully some of your team members at B.A.L could contribute some articles on their knowledge and specialty for the field.
Absolutely.
Please put the word out. Thank you.